What's next on your list?
I gotta go.
Yeah, it's your turn.
I asked this question. It seems kind of moot now. But I asked, who is telling the police to attack peaceful protesters?
President?
No. I'm talking. The president does not control a police force. The president doesn't have a police force
chief?
to control. So,
I mean, we saw the video this week of a police chief attacking a peaceful protester.
yes, but I don't understand who would be telling. Is it trainers? Is it, like you said, the police chief, like that hierarchy? Is it us? The people who voted for those people in those positions, commissioners and whatever. Who is telling police, the officer on the street, to attack people? Because that seems to, it kind of seems counterproductive.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's just me.
No. I've been saying this for weeks. I don't know who to...
I don't understand. I guess what I don't get is, I don't get why the training of police officers has not been modified all these years. Because these problems go back to Rodney King. These problems go back to the 1980s, 70s, 60s, 50s. They go back. It's not like they're new. And everybody that's today they're all talking like these are new phenomena in our cities. And it's like, police have been doing this from the beginning of organized police forces.
Yeah.
So why? And it wasn't just black folks that they were brutalizing before. It was all the different groups. The Irish, the Italian, it didn't matter. The Jew. They've been, the Japanese, they've been attacking people in their communities all along. So why hasn't the training changed? I don't get it. All right, go ahead. Do your thing. I don't get it. Y'all got to talk to me about that one because I don't get it. I don't get why it's being allowed by regular people outside of police departments, but who are voters, by inside people in the departments, training in the academies. I don't get it. If teachers were doing things like this, they would be pointing their fingers at every school that has teacher training, and they'd be telling them that they have to change.
Yep.
I don't get why is it that police are allowed to do it?
That's actually a very good point, because I remember when I was in 3rd grade, I had an older teacher. She was, I think that was her last year teaching. She was in her 60s. And I couldn't find a word in the dictionary because I didn't know how to spell it. I didn't know where to look.
You look it up in the dictionary.
And it was
you
like,
don't know how to spell it.
It was my 3rd day of school at this school. And I said, "Excuse me, can you tell me where to find the word because I don't know how to spell it?" And she shook me.
Look it up in the dictionary.
You need to know how to spell. You need to look it up on your... And she's shaking me.
Look it up in the goddamn dictionary.
She's shaking me because I'm a 3rd grader, and I didn't know how to spell this word, and so it's my fault, and she's physically assaulting me. If we did that now as teachers, we'd be fired that minute.
Probably.
And then the parents would press charges.
Or put on administrative leave if you're white.
Yeah.
With pay.
But the parents would file charges for assault. So if our training as educators has to change, why don't the police have to change? And it seems like this is the point where people are saying, enough is enough. It has to change. And this isn't just black folks or brown folks. This is a lot of everybody saying things have to change. But do you think it'll actually change? Or the training for the police? Or do you think that'll just wait till everything dies down and it'll be back to business as usual?
Are you really asking this question?
Yeah.
Ask your question again. Let's make sure I understand your question.
Do you think with all that's going on and the calls for change for training that the police will then change how they're trained or training their police officers? Or do you think they will wait until everything calms down and go back to business as usual?
Okay. If people in their different localities do something to their police department, some of them are changing how they fund. Some of them are looking at the leadership and removing people or whatever. Okay, all those things. If those things are happening, then I believe like Camden is a good thing. They fired their entire police force, and then they had to be hired back.
Cool.
So that means, and the guy said, now the police force it's now more minorities in the police force than white folks. So, okay, that's going to change the police force. That's going to change how they do. Now, it doesn't mean that they ain't going to go out there and be cracking niggas' heads. That's not what I'm saying. But it has the potential for more immediate change. But in places where they think it's wrong to change, you gotta remember, I mean, you're talking about every individual city.
Yeah.
Right? Every sheriff department, every county department, because in some places it's the county that is doing the policing. I mean, they're all going to be different, and they're all going to have to be dealt with differently. So, are they going to go back to business as usual? Yeah, most of them probably will. I think. I mean, they have no reason to change if they have no reason to change.
Yeah.
You know, now, if they start watching the heads roll and they start seeing their more radical buddies not being allowed to be in that profession anymore, and they can't move, because that's the other thing, is the idea of them moving, you know, doing something wrong in this place and then moving to another place, and there was no database to say, you know, anything. I mean, basically they got to treat police officers like sex offenders.
Yeah.
Which makes sense. I don't understand. I mean, they would be, federally, they would be tracking everyone wherever they were. The Catholic Church has now got to track priests. Why can't they track regular police officers? Just put them in a database and say you worked in Philly and now you want to work somewhere else? We should be able to look at your record.
Yep. They do it with
with everybody.
They do it with students.
They do it with teachers.
Yep.
You know, so I don't get why that's such a big deal, but it's probably a big deal. The same reason that it's a big deal for priests. They did some shit, and that's why they're moving, and so now they were not going to be able to go to the next place.
Yep.
So, will things change? I don't think so. Could they? In this moment, it's a good time to make a change? Yes, absolutely. Now you have the people behind change. But the other side of this is we have to change what policing means.
Yes.
And that's, I think, what needs to be addressed more than anything, is the idea of looking at policing and go, do we want a police officer to respond to this thing? Or do we need an ambulance to respond to this thing? See, we've made that determination already for some things, but now maybe we need to be looking at it going, maybe we need a social worker to respond to this, and not a police officer to respond to this.
Yep.
Maybe when we send a police officer, we're getting negative outcomes because it's a police officer, not because the person, they don't really understand what they're walking into. So for the police officer, maybe that's a threat as opposed to the social worker that sees it as an opportunity to have a conversation.
Right.
That's just it's a difference in how they look at the world in their job.
Why do we send police officers for welfare checks and not doctors? Or
Welfare checks?
yeah, like the reason they found my parents were dead was because someone had called and said, "Hey, we need you to do a welfare check on this person."
That's not a welfare check.
Why are they not sending paramedics? Why are they sending police officers?
Yes, but that's because they're the ones riding around. They're the ones that are out there riding around. And it's easier. I mean, you're talking about a very, 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 very small place. Who else is out there riding around?
No.
Nobody.
This is something that happens in every city all across the country.
No, there are social workers that are in, depending on the city and depending on how that system is funded, there could be social workers out riding around.
But generally, if say somebody calls and says at 8 o'clock at night, "Can you please go and check and see if this person is okay? I haven't been able to get a hold of them and they have blah, blah, blah." It's the police who go.
It's the police who go now because that's the system we've set up.
But that's what I'm saying.
But my point is, depending on the city and how those social services are funded, they might have people that are, one, in the neighborhood already, but also they can go. But the problem is, we're not funding the social worker the way we're funding the police.
Right.
So if I'm paying, as a city, if I'm paying for a lot for police, I'm going to put more on their plate to go take care of.
Yep.
Yeah, why would police be called for a wellness check? They shouldn't be. But what happens when you have a domestic dispute? Should police be called at all? Because as soon as they hit the door, it's now escalated and it's now a much more negative thing than if just a regular person came.
Yeah.
But see, the problem is the regular person comes and the person that's doing the brutalizing inside the house is not going to respect them because they have no gun and they are no threat. See, this is social problem, but we're fixing it with now overwhelming force in sending a police officer.
Yeah.
And it's like if they had to remove a child from a household. That's why they send police. Because they couldn't send a social worker. They send a social worker and then the person gets there and says, "I'm here to take your child." They just either beat them senseless or pull a gun on them or whatever and they run them away and then now you're sending them back with the police. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Maybe some situations should be tag teamed.
Yes, but that's the problem. That is the problem. And the police shouldn't even be allowed to speak.
Right, maybe they don't even know they're there. They're just sitting in the car waiting for something to happen.
But the car itself is traumatic.
Maybe it's not just like a police car. It's like a...
All I'm telling you is, it doesn't matter. If you bring somebody there to the house with a gun on them, it's over.
Yeah.
You've now escalated it, and you've now pissed off the people on the inside more than if they were just having a conversation.
Yeah.
And they're already going to be upset because you're taking a child away or you're doing this thing or whatever. You know, the man that's beating up on the woman called someone to help her. Now you're removing the girlfriend from the apartment because that's what they were doing. They were arresting the guy. Remember?
Yep.
They would just arrest the guy, take the guy away, and then the woman could be removed safely. She could go to the homes for battered women and all that stuff under cover of darkness so that guy doesn't know where they are.
Right.
But they had to remove the guy first and they had to use guns and overwhelming force in order to do it. Even just the sight of overwhelming force. Okay, first, before we continue, what's the smell?
Paint from next door.
This is getting in my throat.
It's paint. It's they have to be painting a motorcycle or something. That's the paint I smell. It's auto paint.
It's strong.
I grew up as the daughter of a mechanic. I'm well aware of what that smells like.
If you Want to find the Traveling Fars? You can find us on the YouTube, Facebook, Pinterest, iTunes, Spotify, and any place that good podcasts are sold. If you like the Instagram or the Twitters, you can find us at Traveling Fars. If you like the email, travelingfars@gmail.com, she will be answering your emails. And the blog space, thetravelingfars.blueberry.net. No E's in the blueberry.
Don't forget to check out our Patreon. Patreon.com/thetravelingfars.
Right down there.
Give us your money.
We will take it.
It
Help
will be
us-
much appreciated.
Help us get those new 300 X's.
We'll make you a shirt.
And I think I need a new Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera.
Yeah, but you can't.
6K.
You can't get the Da Vinci. You said.
Oh, I'm gonna need a new computer anyway.
You and me both.
Yeah, your shit is exploding, slowly exploding. It's like the explosion that's happening in slow mo.
You always give your computer to Keegan.
Or just take Keegan's.
Well, don't take hers because she has no NVIDIA anything. You wouldn't be able
No,
to play.
I don't want it.
Oh.
But the mommy.
Oh
would
yeah,
use it.
mommy, you probably need it because.
Say goodbye to the people.
Bye,
I didn't say
people.
peace. Old knees. Say goodbye to the people. Say goodbye to the people.
Bye, people.
Peace. See you in 3, 4, 5 weeks or something. You know, somewhere around there.
5. Several weeks.